Yes. Well, hello, brothers and sisters. Alive. Still alive, dwelling in the garden. Saigon, it's now. Today I'm going to talk about a very serious subject. Realization. That means the realization of the so-called Christ consciousness and the Kundalini. This is a very serious topic because we need to figure out what does it mean? What does it mean to have this wonderful experience in life? So for me to connect to the brothers and sisters of the awakening, I'm going to give you a very serious talk about this. So let's check it out, shall we? Here we go. Good old realization. So here we have the Kundalini, they call it Christ consciousness. It's not grab the weenie. Now you see in man's world, they like to twist things around. And so most of society has been grabbing the weenie mistakenly, which actually meant the Kundalini, which means this. So this is the Kundalini. This is your spine, and there's your skull, or your third eye, the one-eyed snake. See, you want to master the one-eyed snake, not this snake. So, the day you realize that this is the actual true meaning, it means the spinal cord into the so-called pineal gland, and that awakens. That's your third eye, not the third leg. Eye. So when you've mastered the weenie, you may have the Kundalini. So let's talk about what may happen when you have this awesome experience. So-called a natural process without, let's say, training. Okay? So here we go. Possible consequences or the results or the effects of having the good old Kundalini. Now there might be two different ways that you could imagine how this would work. First is Montezuma's revenge. Now Montezuma, I believe, was a famous king in Mexico. And the idea of this is that if you eat some bad seafood or something like that, all of a sudden, well, maybe not all of a sudden, there will be like a slow buildup in your stomach, and then the magic starts, and you'll be shitting your brains out for the next maybe week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, cleaning yourself out. So it's a long revenge and process of suffering. So it's a slow relief from the condition. Again, it happened without knowing, but it's a long, dragged out suffering. It's the dark night of the soul squared, let's say. And maybe the relief from that awakening is slow. It's hard to notice. Okay, that's one version. Let's go to the next one. Constipation. And I'm sure everyone has, almost everyone has experienced both of these. So what is constipation? It could be a long-term buildup of shit. Pardon the expression. So, you're eating maybe cheese, your diet is very dry, and things are just getting stuck in your intestine. So you're getting fat, your stomach, you just have stomach aches, and you can't poo. And so, and when you try to poo, it's like, you might even get hemorrhoids and things like that. But it could be like 1 week up to 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. That's a lot of shit collection, you know what I mean? But, when you can finally take that shit, it's like, ah. It's just pure paradise. You got a load off your shoulders. I think that would be the way to describe that one. So this is like, Carl Jung's description of, dealing with your emotional issues, your habits, your lifestyle, getting rid of it, just taking a big shit and getting rid of it. But it depends, on which way you're going to experience this. And, maybe you'll have both versions. But in the end, Jesus Christ, it's over. I know it's over now. So anyway, let's think about it. What is my lifestyle? What am I doing, during the day? What do I eat? What do I do? What do I think? How do I behave? Blah, 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 blah. All of those things are just like what I explained. And, when you finally can release that big load, oh, yeah. It is a load off your shoulder. It's a load off of everything. Pardon the expression. I'm trying to make this humorous because it is funny. I ate all this shit, so it's my responsible for getting rid of all the shit too, right? So now let's think of it another way. That was the natural way, so-called natural, whatever natural means. But let's take a manufactured way. Let's have a 3-week training in Bali. The Kundalini awakening, but they're not talking about grab the weenie. They don't get into the actual real ideas of this, because it's more like feel good, pay me for $20,000 for 3 weeks, and you'll feel good for a couple of days after that. If they told you the full meaning, and you go to the Bali training, and then they give you some bad oysters or something, and then you start shitting your brains out for 3 weeks on the training course. Do you want to experience that? You got to know what you're doing, right? Is it the constipation approach? I don't know. But you need to know what the consequences of going through this, which everyone is going to go through it anyway. You just need to know how it works. So I just want to give an example of being constipated and getting rid of that load that's been hanging around for a long time. Maybe one year, one lifetime, 1,000 lifetimes. But after you take that shit, I guarantee you're going to feel 10,000% better. Just know the next time, make sure you know what you're eating, if you get my drift. Yeah. Smells like roses, brothers and sisters. So that's all I'm going to say, because it's hot in this room. Alive, dwelling in the hot garden, Saigon, it's now. Ciao.